On June 18, 2026, a single resignation letter shattered the balance of power in the artificial intelligence race. Noam Shazeer, the co-lead of Google's flagship Gemini models, walked out the door. He wasn't just any executive. Shazeer is an industry legend, one of the original minds who co-authored the 2017 paper that invented the transformer architecture, the very foundation of all modern generative AI. What makes his abrupt departure to OpenAI a historic corporate catastrophe is the price tag attached to his presence. Less than 2 years prior, Google spent an astronomical $2.7 billion in a complex licensing deal just to bring this one man back into their labs. He stayed for barely 18 months. Google paid billions for a premier talent asset it completely failed to retain. This is the story of how a single engineer orchestrated the ultimate Silicon Valley escape, leaving a tech giant with a multi-billion-dollar write-down and handing its fiercest rival the ultimate architecture weapon. To understand how one person could command a $2.7 billion premium, we have to travel back to the dawn of the internet era. In the year 2000, Noam Shazeer joined Google as one of its earliest software engineers. For over 2 decades, he built the invisible scaffolding of the company, writing foundational ad systems and deep learning framework code. He developed a profound structural familiarity with how Google processes information at a global scale. Then came June 2017. Shazeer, alongside 7 other elite Google researchers, published a paper titled "Attention is All You Need." It introduced the world to the transformer mechanism. Before this paper, AI processed data slowly, piece by piece. The transformer allowed machines to analyze entire sentences, datasets, and patterns simultaneously, tracking relationships between words instantly. It was the spark that ignited the large language model revolution. Noam Shazeer became known as a structural mastermind of the modern AI era. A genius often runs directly into corporate bureaucracy. In 2021, Shazeer built an advanced conversational chatbot named Mina. He wanted to launch it to the public, believing interactive chat was the future of intelligence. Google's cautious leadership declined. Frustrated by corporate restraint, Shazeer walked away from his legacy. He co-founded a new startup called Character.AI, focusing entirely on customizable, highly responsive conversational personalities. The startup boomed, and Google quickly realized its mistake. By August 2024, desperate to reclaim their lost pioneer and bolster their new Gemini project, Google executed an extraordinary maneuver to bypass standard regulatory red tape and avoid a lengthy antitrust acquisition review. Google signed a massive $2.7 billion non-exclusive technology licensing deal with Character.AI. The primary, undeniable motivation behind this multi-billion-dollar check, buying out Shazeer's contract to bring him back to Google as co-lead of the Gemini flagship models. Silicon Valley had never seen anything like it. It set the highest implicit corporate bounty on a single engineer in tech history. Google didn't even buy Character.AI outright. The startup remained independent. Google simply paid billions for the right to put Shazeer back on their payroll. But money cannot buy cultural alignment. By November 2025, less than a year into his return, deep cracks began to form. Reports emerged that Google's internal compliance layers restricted some of Shazeer's posts following highly sensitive internal ideological debates. Pioneer was once again facing corporate constraints. The structural friction grew until June 18, 2026, when Shazeer dropped his bombshell public announcement. He was resigning from Google immediately to join OpenAI. The technical and financial fallout for Google is severe. First, they face massive core architecture disruptions. Gemini has lost its primary optimization specialist, which experts warn could introduce latency penalties or development stalls in upcoming versions. Second, there is a profound risk of IP leakage gradients. While explicit code cannot legally cross corporate lines, Shazeer's holistic knowledge of Gemini's performance advantages inevitably transfers critical optimization paradigms straight to OpenAI. Financially, Google's $2.7 billion stands as a massive sunk capital realization, essentially a multi-billion-dollar write-down for human resource utility value. They paid the ultimate premium for an elite asset that walked away before the 2-year mark. For OpenAI and its CEO Sam Altman, This is the culmination of a decade-long hunt. Altman publicly confirmed that he had been actively trying to recruit and work with Shazeer since OpenAI was founded 10 years ago. The timing of this acquisition is impeccable. OpenAI confidentially filed for an initial public offering in early June 2026 by securing Shazeer as their new lead for AI architecture research. Right before going public, OpenAI has engineered a massive pre-IPO talent ramp-up, making matters worse for Google. Shazeer's exit occurred within a devastating 48-hour window. Nobel laureate and AlphaFold co-creator John Jumper also left Google DeepMind, defecting to Anthropic. This dual exit transformed a single resignation into a historic institutional talent drain. As the dust settles, it's vital to separate myth from reality. Many believe Google still owns Shazeer's Character.AI intellectual property, but they don't. They only bought a non-exclusive license. Character.AI remains independent. Google effectively paid billions just to secure a transient researcher. Furthermore, OpenAI didn't hire Shazeer just for prestige or branding. He is the practical engineering mind who designed the early scaling mechanisms that allow LLMs to operate efficiently. His hands-on mandate is to entirely rebuild OpenAI's next-generation structural processing framework. While whispers in developer circles suggest OpenAI might entirely pivot its upcoming training architecture based on Shazeer's fresh proposals, and rumors swirl that competitive friction with DeepMind CEO Demis Hassabis accelerated his exit. One fact remains absolute: the old rules of corporate retention are completely dead. No matter how many billions a tech giant throws at elite talent, true architectural innovators value freedom and structural control above all else. Google learned that lesson at a cost of $2.7 billion. What do you think? Did Noam Shazeer pull off the greatest heist in Silicon Valley history? Or will Google's Gemini pipeline recover from this devastating talent drain? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the hidden forces shaping the future of artificial intelligence, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to Deep Dive AI, and turn on notifications. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next documentary.